The Raiders seemingly are done with Josh Jacobs, in my estimation, seemingly ready to move on. The fact that he was used extensively in the Hall of Fame game, the fact that they didn't pick up the fifth-year option, the fact that Josh McDaniels uses a revolving door of running backs driven by matchup, etc. Josh Jacobs isn't going to be the workhorse that has over 250 touches per season like he did each of his first three in the NFL. Here's McDaniels yesterday responding to speculation stoked by some on the screen here, maybe on this show, maybe at ProFootballTalk.com, on the question of whether or not the Raiders are currently shopping Josh Jacobs via trade. Have a listen.
You know, JJ is a guy that obviously we know what he's done. And as I said after the game, you know, I really do believe that the backs in any, you know, situation, they don't really get to simulate what's going to happen during the course of the regular season. And so, you know, giving them an opportunity to actually get tackled, take care of the football, you know, and get acclimated to a new system, quite honestly. You saw a lot of the linemen play most of the first half that started the game again. So, you know, like I said, we'll try to do what's best for the team. We felt like that was a good thing, a good opportunity for all our backs that played. We have a lot of confidence in JJ, and you know he did well with his opportunities, which we hoped he would, and he did. But no, we have no desire to do that at all.
No desire, no intention, no plan. Come on. The actions speak for themselves. If this is your intended top tailback for the 2022 season, he's not the only skill position player who is starting from your starting lineup in the Hall of Fame game. There's no Devontae Adams, there's no Derek Carr, there's no Hunter Renfrow, there's no Darren Waller, and there's Josh Jacobs. Obviously, that's a message to Jacobs and to anyone else who's paying attention. Make us an offer. And you're not going to tell the world you're trying to trade him because you lose your leverage. That's why people say we have no intent to trade. We have no desire to trade. Also, you have to find a way to keep the relationship going in the event that you don't find a trade partner. Right? You don't want to make it obvious you're giving the guy away. You can't wait to get rid of the guy because then it's harder to get through to the guy and to get him to work for you if he thinks he's getting a ticket to somewhere where he's going to be the workhorse. Somebody asked me, well, why wouldn't he want to be with the Raiders? Because he's not going to get to play the way that he has, and he's not setting himself up for the kind of payday. Number one, they took away his fifth-year option, and number two, he's not going to have the kind of season that would set him up to get a nice contract on the open market. Yeah. He's not going to have the numbers.
Well, maybe
he's not going to have the reps.
Maybe not. You're right. You know, there's a lot here at play. You know, I hear what you're saying there. I do. And I do think that there's something there to this conversation that now I'm not going to say it's necessarily trade, but I think there's maybe a point being made maybe because of disappointment in performance or professionalism. I also take Josh McDaniels' word in the fact that, you know, let's look where he came from. New England, I don't remember them keeping any backs out of the preseason. They all played all the time because of what we're talking about. There's only so few instances you can get out there and get, you know, used to taking the hits or wait, there's a hole there and you got to go in there and smash your body in it. And you haven't had to do that all training camp. We got to get used to it. You need to go in there and lower your pads and drive for an extra 2 or 3 yards when nothing's there. There is skill and a learned skill to that and getting used to that and getting the body and the mind conditioned to, wait, I have to do that. Also, you know, to some of the things you're saying, he's not God's gift to the world anymore. He's not. This regime didn't draft him in the first round. This is John Gruden's baby that he loved and he was going to roll out the red carpet for. And Josh McDaniels in town, you're right. It's more by committee, so they're going to do it that way. And it is like, hey, new blitz pickup, stuff like that, all of that. But I would take it more as maybe they aren't as happy with what he has done to this point, and that's why they're like, hey, you're going to go out there and play. You haven't shown yourself to be as professional or as good in practice as we'd like, and we're going to make these reps count right here. And I also would challenge the people that are on the Twitterverse to go, I don't know. Did this guy, like, turn into all of a sudden Derrick Henry? I'm not ready to say he's that guy yet either, to where you just go, oh, okay, hey, we're not going to let you rush the ball or do anything here all training camp. He's been a really good player. I don't think he's necessarily lived up to the first-round expectation that they were expecting to get at this point. So I think there's a few things there as far as laying down the culture, getting used to a system, and some sort of warning that you're alluding to that it needs to be better. But, man, they played all their running backs in their game, and they did that in New England, too. That's where I guess I'm not going to jump to too many conclusions quite yet.
By the way, we have been doing this for roughly 5 years now.
What did I do?
5 years of show, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let me build it up a little bit. I just want to blurt it out.
I'm nervous.
5 years of doing the show.
Yeah.
In all of those editions of the show combined, you had never once used the phrase God's gift to the world. You've used it twice today. I don't know how that crept into your brain. I don't know if you read it in a book somewhere.
I did write it.
But somehow,
somehow,
it's a coup d'etat of your brain. That phrase has taken over your brain today. It just struck me because the first time you said it, it's like, well, I know all of this guy's phrases, and that's a new one. And then you use it again.
I wrote it down, too. That's what's even worse. So maybe it's in my head. But I will say there is, maybe I need to find a better phrase there. But there is something to that too. When you're the first round picks, and I've seen John Gruden with first round picks, whether it was Cadillac Williams or Michael Clayton back in the day, offensive weapons that he liked. He rolls out the red carpet for them. They get a little bit of a preferential treatment, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was why the Patriot way and McDaniels were trying to prove here. Like, no, this is over. You got to prove yourself to us. This is a different offense, a different world. And, I think that maybe is where my mind takes me more than anything. So, we'll see where that goes. But I don't know. I can't imagine them trading him from this standpoint because it's the last year of the contract. And I would think, hey, what do they care? Hey, Josh McDaniels wants to get this team off to a good start. He wants his offense to look good. And, I mean, if you have no money tied up to in the future, maybe you ride that horse a little more than you normally would. And that's where I'm not going to buy into maybe him being on the trade market quite yet. At least I don't feel like enough things align yet.
And he walks away as a free agent, and you get a compensatory draft pick, assuming you have more departures than arrivals in 2023. That's the one thing to remember. It's only if you have net losses in free agency to get those compensatory selections. But, that's the Patriots thought, or the Patriots were believed to be inclined to hang on to receiver N'Keal Harry for that very reason, and they traded him to the Bears. Because you unload that guaranteed salary. I think that's the only attraction.
Right.
$2.2 million fully guaranteed out the door if you do trade him. And unlike quarterback, there will be opportunities to trade Josh Jacobs because there will be injuries at the running back position starting this weekend when the preseason games get rolling. Guys at that position will get injured. It's just part of football.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.